You drag yourself out of bed exhausted, even after forcing yourself to get those required 8 hours of sleep everyone talks about. What if you could actually sleep less, but wake up feeling more energized, focused, and alive than you have in years? In this video, I'll share 6 science-backed secrets about sleep architecture that will completely transform how you think about rest and recovery. I discovered the truth about sleep quality versus quantity when I started tracking my sleep cycles with actual data instead of just counting hours. The problem is, most people are obsessing over hitting 8 hours while completely ignoring the one thing that actually determines whether you wake up refreshed or feeling like you got hit by a truck. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to optimize your sleep cycles, align with your natural biology, and wake up with genuine energy. Let's dive in. Now, here's where it gets interesting, and it completely changes everything you think you know about sleep duration. Your brain doesn't sleep in one continuous block. Instead, it moves through complete 90-minute cycles that include light sleep, deep sleep, REM sleep, and back to light sleep again. Each cycle is like a complete journey your brain needs to take for full restoration. Research from Dr. Matthew Walker at UC Berkeley Sleep Lab found that waking up in the middle of a sleep cycle makes you feel groggier than waking up after fewer total hours, but at the end of a complete cycle. This works because your brain releases different chemicals during each stage. When you interrupt deep sleep, you're yanking your brain out of critical repair mode, flooding it with sleep inertia hormones that make you feel like you're moving through molasses. Think of it like pausing a movie right at the climax and then wondering why the story doesn't make sense. First, calculate your ideal bedtime by working backwards from when you need to wake up in 90-minute increments. For example, if you wake at 6 a.m., don't aim for midnight, 6 hours. Aim for 10:30 p.m. 5 complete cycles equal to 7.5 hours, or even 12 a.m., 4 complete cycles equal to 6 hours. Second, give yourself a 15-minute buffer to fall asleep in your calculation. Third, use your phone's calculator and literally do this math tonight. Most people just flop into bed randomly and wonder why they feel terrible. For instance, instead of thinking I need 8 hours, think I need 5 complete cycles, which is 7.5 hours plus 15 minutes to fall asleep. So I need to be in bed by 10:15 p.m. But that's not all, because the timing of those cycles matters just as much as the number. Most people don't know this, but your body has a biological clock that's already decided when you should sleep, and fighting it is like swimming against a rip current. Your circadian rhythm is your internal 24-hour clock controlled by a tiny cluster of cells in your brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. This biological timer regulates when your body releases melatonin, the sleep hormone, cortisol, the wake-up hormone, and dozens of other chemicals that control everything from body temperature to digestion. Here's the brutal truth. Your optimal sleep window might be 9 p.m. to 4:30 a.m., or 11 p.m. to 6:30 a.m., or midnight to 7:30 a.m., and it's largely determined by your genetics. Scientists have identified specific gene variations called PER3 that determine whether you're a natural early bird or night owl. Research published in Nature Communications found that forcing a night owl to wake at 5 a.m. creates the same cognitive impairment as being legally drunk. This works because when you sleep during your body's natural sleep window, your melatonin production is at peak levels. Your core body temperature drops optimal rest levels, and your glymphatic system, your brain's waste disposal system, operates at maximum efficiency. Fighting your chronotype is like trying to charge your phone with the wrong voltage. It might work, but you're damaging the battery every single time. First, for 1 week, track when you naturally feel sleepy without forcing yourself to bed. Go to sleep within 30 minutes of feeling that first wave of tiredness. It's your body sending you a biological text message. Second, notice when you naturally wake up on weekends or vacations without an alarm. That's your real wake time preference. Third, Gradually shift your schedule 15 minutes earlier or later each week if you need to adjust for work, but don't force a 2-hour swing overnight. Fourth, avoid the deadly mistake of catching up on sleep on weekends by sleeping until noon. This just confuses your circadian rhythm further. For instance, instead of staying up until 2 a.m. because you're not tired yet, recognize that you might be a morning chronotype whose melatonin window already passed, and you've entered a second wind phase that's sabotaging your sleep quality. This brings me to the next secret, and it's something you're doing every single evening that's destroying your sleep quality. Now, you might be thinking, I already know about blue light before bed, but here's the twist that changes everything. Blue light from screens doesn't just affect you in the hour before bed. It starts impacting your melatonin production up to 3 hours before you even try to sleep. Every time you look at your phone, laptop, or bright overhead lights after the sun goes down, you're essentially telling your suprachiasmatic nucleus, hey, it's still daytime. Don't produce any sleep hormones yet. It's not just about the screens themselves. It's about the cumulative exposure to artificial bright light during your natural wind-down period. A groundbreaking study from Harvard Medical School compared blue light exposure to green light exposure and found that blue light suppresses melatonin for about twice as long as green light and shifts circadian rhythms by twice as much. Your eyes have special photoreceptors called IPRGCs, intrinsically photosensitive retinal ganglion cells, that are specifically designed to detect blue wavelengths and send wake-up signals directly to your biological clock. This works because for 99.9% of human history, blue light only existed during daytime from the sun. Your brain literally interprets blue light as, don't sleep yet. It's still afternoon. Even if you consciously feel tired, your pineal gland has received the message to suppress melatonin by up to 50%. First, set a light transition time 3 hours before bed, where you dim all lights in your home to 50% brightness or less. Use lamps instead of overhead lights. Second, switch your devices to night mode, but don't rely on this alone. The brightness matters just as much as the color. Third, invest in blue light blocking glasses, 15 to 30, and wear them religiously from sunset onward if you must use screens. Fourth, here's the game changer nobody talks about. Get bright light exposure in the morning. Go outside within 30 minutes of waking and get direct sunlight in your eyes for 10 to 15 minutes. This creates a strong circadian anchor point that makes the evening light transition more effective. The common mistake? People use blue light blockers at night but live like vampires during the day in dark offices, which makes their circadian rhythm so weak that no amount of evening optimization helps. For instance, instead of doom scrolling under bright bathroom light at 10 p.m., switch to reading a physical book under a warm-colored lamp at 50% brightness while wearing blue blockers. But wait, there's something even more powerful than controlling light, and it involves changing when you eat. This next one is crucial because it works even if you can't control your light exposure perfectly. Your body has peripheral circadian clocks in almost every organ. Your liver, stomach, muscles, and fat tissue all have their own 24-hour timers. When you eat tells these peripheral clocks what time it is, independent of light cues. Time-restricted eating means confining all your food intake to an 8 to 12-hour window during daylight hours, which synchronizes your peripheral clocks with your central brain clock and dramatically improves sleep quality. Dr. Sachin Panda's research at the Salk Institute discovered that mice fed the same diet and calories but restricted to a 10-hour eating window were protected from obesity, metabolic disease, and showed dramatically improved sleep consolidation compared to mice who ate around the clock. This works because when you eat, your body releases insulin, raises your core body temperature, and activates digestive processes that are fundamentally incompatible with deep sleep. Eating late forces your body into a confused state where your brain is trying to sleep while your gut is screaming time to digest. It's like trying to shift your car into reverse while still moving forward. Additionally, nighttime eating suppresses melatonin and stimulates cortisol, creating a hormonal environment that fragments your sleep cycles. First, stop eating at least 3 hours before bedtime. If you sleep at 10 p.m., finish dinner by 7 p.m. maximum. Second, start your eating window later rather than ending it earlier. Eating breakfast at 10 a.m. and dinner at 6 p.m. works better than breakfast at 7 a.m. and dinner at 3 p.m. for most people's schedules. Third, push through the initial hunger signals in the evening. They're habitual, not physiological, and they disappear after 3 to 5 days of consistency. Fourth, stay hydrated in your fasting window, but stop drinking large amounts of water 2 hours before bed to avoid middle-of-the-night bathroom trips. The massive mistake people make? They eat healthy foods but consume them at 9 p.m. and then wonder why they wake up at 3 a.m. For instance, instead of having that late-night protein snack because you read it prevents muscle loss, recognize that the sleep disruption you're creating causes way more muscle loss through elevated cortisol and reduced growth hormone release. Now, let's talk about something even more powerful that happens when you manipulate your sleep pressure. Now, you might be wondering why some nights you fall asleep instantly and other nights you toss and turn for hours. Here's the secret. Your body accumulates sleep pressure through a chemical called adenosine that builds up in your brain from the moment you wake up. The longer you're awake, the more adenosine accumulates, creating an increasing drive to sleep. But here's the counterintuitive part. Napping, sleeping in late, or lying in bed awake actually reduces your sleep pressure for the following night, creating a vicious cycle where you can't fall asleep when you want to. Research from the University of Pennsylvania Sleep Center found that accumulated sleep pressure is one of the 2 primary factors, along with circadian rhythm, that determine sleep quality. Caffeine works by blocking adenosine receptors in your brain, which is why coffee makes you feel alert. But the adenosine is still accumulating behind the scenes. When the caffeine wears off, you get hit with a wave of all that backed-up sleep pressure at once. This works because your brain needs a sufficient buildup of adenosine to trigger the transition into deep sleep stages. If you nap for 90 minutes in the afternoon, you're releasing that adenosine pressure before bedtime, leaving you without enough biological drive to fall asleep easily at night. Think of sleep pressure like a bow and arrow. You need to pull the string back far enough to shoot the arrow, fall asleep quickly, and every time you nap or sleep in, you're releasing the tension on that bow. First, if you're struggling with insomnia, completely eliminate all naps for 2 weeks to rebuild strong sleep pressure. Yes, you'll feel tired during the adjustment period, but you're training your body. Second, wake up at the same time every single day, even weekends. This is non-negotiable for fixing your sleep. Third, if you absolutely must use caffeine, have your last cup before noon. Caffeine has a half-life of 5 to 6 hours, meaning a cup at 3 p.m. still has 25% of its caffeine in your system at midnight. Fourth, use strategic light exposure and physical activity early in the day to increase adenosine accumulation rates. The brutal mistake people make? They can't sleep, so they sleep in until 10 a.m. to catch up, which leaves them with insufficient sleep pressure that night, creating a self-reinforcing cycle of insomnia. For instance, instead of taking a 2-hour afternoon nap because you're exhausted, push through with a 10-minute walk outside in bright light, which will actually help you consolidate better sleep that night and break the cycle. This brings me to something that sounds completely crazy, but is backed by elite military research. Here's where things get controversial, but stay with me because the science is fascinating. Biphasic sleep means splitting your sleep into 2 distinct periods instead of one long block. The most studied version is a 4 to 5 hour core sleep at night, plus a 90-minute afternoon nap, totaling 5.5 to 6.5 hours, but of 10 producing the same restoration as 7 to 8 hours of monophasic sleep. This isn't for everyone, but for people with demanding schedules or in specific life situations, it can be a legitimate alternative to forcing 8 continuous hours that never happen. Historical research shows that biphasic sleep was actually the norm before the Industrial Revolution. Spanish cultures have siestas, Mediterranean cultures take afternoon rests, and NASA's fatigue countermeasures program found that pilots who took 26-minute naps improved performance by 34% and alertness by 54%. The key is understanding sleep architecture. Your first 4 to 5 hours of sleep contain almost all of your deep sleep, stages 3 to 4, which is the most physically restorative. Your later sleep cycles are predominantly REM-heavy, which is crucial for memory and emotional processing. A strategically timed afternoon nap during your natural circadian dip, around 2 to 3 p.m. when your body temperature drops slightly, can capture additional REM sleep efficiently. This works because it aligns with your biological programming. Humans are naturally wired for a biphasic pattern, which is why almost everyone experiences an afternoon energy dip regardless of how well they slept. First, this is not permission to sleep poorly at night and nap all day. You need a solid 4 to 5 hour core sleep block first. Second, if you try this, your afternoon nap must be exactly 20 minutes for alertness boost without grogginess, or 90 minutes for a complete sleep cycle including REM. Anything in between leaves you in sleep inertia. Third, schedule your nap between 1 to 3 p.m., never after 4 p.m., or it will cannibalize your nighttime sleep pressure. Fourth, create the same sleep environment for your nap as nighttime: dark, cool, quiet. The critical mistake? People take random 45-minute naps at 6 p.m. and then wonder why they can't sleep at midnight. That's not bifasai. C-sleep, that's sleep chaos. For instance, instead of powering through exhaustion with another coffee at 2 p.m., recognize that your body is biologically programmed for a rest period, and a strategic 20-minute nap will provide more cognitive benefit than stimulants while protecting your nighttime sleep. Important caveat: most people should start by optimizing monophasic sleep first. Only consider biphasic patterns if you've mastered the first 5 principles and have specific life circumstances that prevent 7 to 8 hour blocks, or if you're naturally inclined toward this pattern. Let's quickly review what we covered today, because these 6 principles work synergistically. Number 1. Sleep in 90-minute cycles, not arbitrary hours. Calculate your bedtime backward in complete cycles. Number 2. Identify and honor your natural circadian rhythm. You might not be an 8-hour sleeper. You might be a 7.5-hour early bird or a 6-hour night owl. Number 3. Start your blue light protection 3 hours before bed, not 30 minutes. Get bright morning light to anchor your rhythm. Number 4. Stop eating 3 hours before sleep and compress your eating window to synchronize your peripheral clocks. Number 5. Build strong sleep pressure by eliminating naps and waking at the same time daily, even weekends. Number 6. Consider biphasic sleep only after mastering monophasic sleep, and only if your circumstances truly demand it. Remember, sleep quality isn't about hitting some magical number of hours that a generalized study told you to aim for. It's about understanding your unique biology, your specific circadian rhythm, and working with your body instead of forcing it into a one-size-fits-all box. You have everything you need to transform your energy levels, focus, and overall life quality just by respecting these fundamental principles of sleep architecture. The only difference between feeling exhausted every morning and bouncing out of bed with genuine energy is implementing these 6 strategies consistently for 2 to 3 weeks. Don't wait until you're burned out, suffering from brain fog, or dealing with serious health consequences from chronic sleep deprivation. Start with just one principle tonight. Calculate your 90-minute sleep cycles and set a bedtime that aligns with a complete cycle. I promise you, 3 weeks from now, you'll thank yourself for watching this video all the way through and actually taking action. If you found this helpful and you're ready to stop sacrificing your health and energy to the myth of 8 hours or bust, hit that like button so more people can discover the truth about sleep architecture. Subscribe for more science-backed self-improvement content that actually works in the real world, not just in theory. Drop a comment telling me which of these 6 principles you're implementing first, or if you've tried biphasic sleep, share your experience below. And if you want to learn how to optimize your morning routine to complement these sleep strategies, check out the video I'm linking next. It's the perfect companion to what you just learned. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.